Hello. Been away a while, huh? Welcome to another episode of Forgotten Cemeteries of Ohio. I'm actually visiting my family in Ohio this week, and I was looking around for cemeteries, and I was like, a lot of cemeteries around here are pretty well taken care of. But there was one that caught my eye. So this will be this year's Haunted October episode, and we have a good one with a lot of legends here. It should be a good one. So, today we're visiting Bowman Cemetery, located in Elkton or Elkrun, based on the old records. We're in Ohio today, as said, Columbiana County. Alternative names of the cemetery, I don't think there's any, because I think it's a family cemetery overall. So let's go meet some local residents and hear their story. As we approach our destination, a little bit of cemetery history. Honestly, not much. Find a grave lists around 56 memorials. The Oregon Burial Site Guide was very specific on information. I didn't realize how spoiled I was with that guide. No offense to Ohio. But they do have a book called Ohio Cemeteries, 1803 to 2003. It's pretty good overall. Not as specific as the Oregon Burial Site Guide, so I'm a bit of a snob here. Sorry, Ohio. They have some moderate info in there, just real quick information. And I think they said this one's maintained once a year, perhaps. I kind of did a walkthrough, and it actually looks pretty good back here for being so deep in the forest. I gotta say, this is one of the more isolated ones I've visited. My parents are with me, and they seem a little nervous. We pulled up to the gate, and they were like, "Oh, are you sure about this?" And I'm like, "Well, this is what I do for fun as a hobby. You can wait in the car if you want." I guess we can call the cemetery establishment date 1819 for this cemetery, and I strictly based that on the grave of infant Bowman. Looks like they died during birth. Unsure if this area was once settled by the Bowman family or if they're up the road. Couldn't find much. In addition, the last name for Bowman for the earliest birth year I found on Find a Grave, they spelled their name differently from what you'll see, Bowman. They spelled it way differently, so that threw research off. As far as the town of Elkton, it lies in Columbiana County, which was first officially settled in 1792 by a hunter named John Quinn. So very old America here. It's kind of odd because they refer to Elkrun and Elkton in the books and the articles I found. It appears there was just some name changes going on, which wasn't uncommon back then. And by 1837, this county was actually the second most populous in Ohio and well known for producing wheat and horses. Regardless of what this area is called, it was settled in the 1800s. There is a brief note of Christian Bowman helping the area in 1862. Hopefully we'll visit his headstone today and tell a short story. Overall, a really successful area that played a big part in Ohio history and developed over time. Today, we'll meet the Bowman family member who helped kickstart the economy here, the daughter of a Revolutionary War veteran, meet our first Revolutionary War soldier, so that should be fun. And I said this was our October episode this year. Discover a dark little secret, not well known to Ohio's from my readings. It's kind of like limit on the information, but I just kind of stumbled upon it. Let's discuss the Bowman Cemetery witch legend. She is allegedly buried just outside the cemetery and is said to haunt the woods at night. I haven't seen her yet, luckily. And the witch is not our only creepy resident. Tales of the Bumper Man. Yes, you heard that right. To add the most terrifying ghost of all, children have been witnessed dancing and playing in this cemetery. Uh-oh. Let's unwrap the secrets of this Ohio backwoods cemetery, Oregon style. And our first stop is the headstone of Moses Dickey. This is a popular last name in the cemetery. There's like an entire row of them, which is kind of neat. This would be our first Revolutionary War soldier on this channel, allegedly. I'm going to trust the Find a Grave research, but unknown on birth year, sadly, and as you can see, the headstone's pretty weathered. It did list him dying in 1835 on Find a Grave, but when I come to his headstone, there's two dates, 1835 and it looks like 1845. So that's the only reason I'm questioning if he's truly a Revolutionary War soldier. Now, when I did look up on a website, there was two Moses Dickeys listed that fought in the Revolutionary War. So I'll leave it up to the Find a Grave person. Hopefully they entered it right. But the Moses Dickey that did serve in the Revolutionary War served in the 7th Battalion of Cumberland, PA. Coincidentally, there's a Dickey Lynch Cemetery in North Carolina, and I believe there's a lot of veterans buried there. So Like I said, there's 1835 and 1845 listed on this headstone. Kinda. It's really weathered, but I don't know. That was a tough one to research. And we got another war veteran, Henry Walter, born in 1791 and served in the War of 1812. And we discussed this a bit in Oregon, this war. Also appears he was born in Adams County, PA, and I'm noticing a lot of individuals hail from there who are buried in this cemetery, so unsure if they like all moved together as one unit to this area. It's kind of neat. And probably the most well-taken headstone in the cemetery belongs to Christian Bowman of Elkrun in the 1800s, son of Christian Bowman. Father had the same name, so don't confuse the two if you visit. Honestly, I couldn't find much on the Bowman, sadly. I did read that Christian here was a farmer in 1862. He took a liking to fruit farming, actually. So he planted orchards of apple trees, and it actually took off in the area, helping it. And the industry exploded in this county, which obviously was beneficial financially for them. So a big part of Columbiana County history at this headstone. And here's the headstone, I believe, of Anna Maria Noss Walter. Jeez, big name. Does say Mary at the top. I hope you can see that. But I did read her father, Daniel Noss Jr., served in the Revolutionary War. I'm guessing that's why the American flag is placed right next to it. However, records show him dying at the young age of 33 years old in 1779. I have to wonder if he died in battle, as the Revolutionary War lasted until 1783. Okay, let's talk about our last section, which is the hauntings. I sort of just stumbled along the cemetery last minute before my trip, and of course, I got obsessed with it. At first, I was more concentrated on the backroad cemeteries, run down and forgotten, not so visited these days. And this one checked pretty much all the boxes. There is a lot of vandalism here. Somebody did a number here a few years ago, or it's ongoing, but somebody's trying to preserve it. However, what I didn't realize was the haunted stories that came along with it. So let's build up suspense with Google reviews, because they're super reliable, right, and truthful. So the first one reads, "Not for the weak. This location is in the middle of the woods, and you should definably travel there with a partner or several people. We visited during the daytime, not sure if we could handle it at night. When we were there, the woods got eerily silent when we were in the center of the cemetery." I guess we'll put that to the test. "It was sad to see the condition of most of the grave sites." Yeah, I agree with that. A lot of them are beat up. Second review, "Heard sounds, but nothing much. But when we went to leave, our car wouldn't move. We never had an issue with that until then." And that legend's going to come up in a little bit with the bumper man. That was weird. The last review, or second to last, and this one was a little neat. "Eerie walk down the path from the road to the cemetery, going over an old tiny bridge covering a surprisingly loud creek for its size, and soon entering this small cemetery. I read more children's graves than adults." I would agree with that. There seems to be a lot of children buried here. "There was a darkness where it shouldn't be. It was quiet. Too quiet. But not peaceful. It was foggy, close to the grounds in the distance. Quickly, the three of us agreed to leave. On the path back outside the cemetery, I heard footsteps running up behind me, getting louder and louder, closer and faster. I suddenly turned. Nobody was there. In another direction, my husband and I both saw someone, a dark swaying figure, watching us from the woods, and then it dissipate. Ooh. Was it our imagination? We laughed it off that night. I did some research on the Bowman Cemetery the next day, and we were shocked to find out this was real." Last review. Short and sweet. Absolutely terrifying. Go with no less than 4 to 5 people. And our first individual I'd like to talk about is the legend of the Bumper Man. Now, I thought this was going to be some urban legend type of deal, like the Tall Man. Things blow up, the Tall Man's in this neighborhood, blah, 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 the cemetery. But zero information on this alleged Bumper Man, other than one posting on the Higher Exploration. The story goes anywhere from dusk throughout night. If you visit, he will appear and grab the bumper of your car like a freaking lunatic. Allegedly, the individual wanted to test out the waters for themselves based on the posting. So they visited Bowman Cemetery, made a bunch of noise, like taunting, and someone runs up on the car. They freak out, speed out of the cemetery, stopping at the end of the road and kind of laugh it off and joke. However, the Bumper Man wasn't finished with them, and he wasn't too thrilled. They heard something behind the car, and sure enough, there he was. The Bumper Man grabbing the bumper and shaking it. I don't know if it was a local mechanic trying to get some money or something, or trying to steal some metal for scrap metal. I don't know, man, but it was the one story that was a little unique to this cemetery. And our main event, showcase, the Bowman Cemetery Witch. It is said that in the 1800s, there was a woman who lived just outside the cemetery who was a bit of a healer or doctor of sorts. I guess the children were sick in the village, so she was called upon to help heal them. She wasn't very successful. Lots of children died, apparently. Cliche, but the villagers accused her of being a witch. She was found guilty, shocking, and sentenced her to hanging. To add insult, they allegedly hung her just outside the cemetery, outside holy grounds. But they hung her over the children's graves so she could look upon them for eternity for her crimes. I believe I read she cursed the villagers and would have her revenge one day. It is said she now haunts and walks the woods at night. However, she cannot enter the cemetery. And I'm 3 feet into the forest, so we're putting that to the test right now, and I don't feel anything, I don't see anything, I don't hear anything. However, where have we heard this story before? A bit familiar to some of the viewers here. For you Ohioans watching, welcome to the channel. In Oregon, we have the famous Lafayette Witch. However, when we dug a little deeper in the story, it was all over the place. She was said to be a witch that haunted cemetery up there, and cemetery is actually plural because the story was just all over the place. Like, which cemetery does she haunt? Incorrect individuals are said to be hung. Information didn't line up, so sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm a bit suspicious and a bit of a debunker when it comes to it. And to be honest, the stories here about the witch are kind of an exact blueprint legend wise, and I have to admit, it reminds me of the crying baby on the bridge urban legend. You know, every bridge out in the country has a crying baby. The woman threw her baby over the bridge. I think that might be true with witches in cemeteries and states. Not to be mean for all the lore lovers out there. But with the Bowman Witch, just a huge lack of documentation in this one. In fact, a few stories claim that the witch took the children up here and murdered them outright. So then we have different versions of the Bowman Witch, and like I said, it's highly similar to other legends we heard in our cemetery travels. And like I said, I walked around, the dates with the children just aren't lining up. Like, if it was all like 1835, 1835, I'm like, all right, something serious happened up here, but you never know. I should be open-minded more. So I guess you visit for yourself late in the evening or at night and see if you see the Bumper Man or the Bowman Witch of Ohio. Alright, you kind of turn off the main road to, they say it was an abandoned road. Looks like your typical Oregon road. Look for that. However, it is locked. They do have like a little space you can park. So it is doable. And then we'll just walk to the cemetery, which is quite the experience, I have to say. This was a good find. I asked in the Reddit forums for Youngstown, because that's where my parents live, in Youngstown. And good cemeteries, and there was a lot of good ones. A lot of private property. Same issues you get in Oregon. Issues. And then I come across this little gem that is not well known. I'd say it's about 30-40 minutes outside of Youngstown, with legends not quite known to the public. But I did like reading about Columbiana County, its history, and the brief mention of the Bowman family. That's more of my channel style. Once in a while I like to throw in something fun for the viewers. So happy October, happy fall. Elkrun Township. Don't know where that goes. Looks like some type of four-wheeler trail. It is quiet. Besides the water. Kind of makes you want to pee. I will agree with some of the postings. It's a bit bizarrely placed. But, as we found in Oregon, Cemeteries are everywhere. You never know. He's walking in the woods, you'll stumble upon one. Opens up to a field. And there she be ahead. I think my parents tapped out. They went way back to the car. So I'm by myself. You know me, never been scared to go by myself to places like this. I don't find it very intimidating or scary. I'd say it's quite a peaceful location to be buried. Let's check out some headstones. You can see somebody most likely vandalized them. Unfortunately, it's everywhere. Guessing this is a Dickey family member? Yeah. I see a lot of them are not very legible. But this is an old one. I think this is the oldest one we visited so far. This individual, I just don't know. Dickey Moses on the Revolutionary War claim. I'll point the camera there. I can't tell what the dates are. It makes me think that someone might have... I don't want to question anyone's research because I'm not the best with that stuff. They probably know more than I do for sure. But it was a hard one to pinpoint, I'd say. As far as the Moses Dickey that served in the Revolutionary War. Because there's like 2 of them. All these weird little ant things crawling on the headstones. That's a cool little thing. This is probably the most, I don't know what the word is, prolific headstone here. I don't think anyone's been buried here for quite a long time. I forget the exact date, but it was a long time ago. But as we found in the past, we'll come to the cemetery and you're like, oh, somebody recent. This one is just outright missing. So there used to be a monument here. Two days old. Jeez. And then there's stuff like this. I'm not quite sure. We've seen animals get buried before, cats and dogs. I believe there's one Civil War soldier in here, perhaps. He died in 1831, but you can see the flag, so maybe 1812. Maybe he served in that war. Matthias Walter. I don't know why it says Mary on top, though. Maybe that's for Mary. Maybe that says... Yeah, never mind, I'm sorry. Wife of Matthias Walter. Looks like there used to be a little figurine there. It's a... I think that says 7, so typically with the children you'll see a little statue of a lamb up there indicating like Lamb of God. Looks like unfortunately that was smashed by somebody. There's Christian Bowman. The one story I could find on the Bowman family. Now that I think of it, I wonder if that was the Mary we were looking for. Like I said, Find a Grave was a bit tricky with this one. I don't know. I'm a bit untrusting with some of the entries, but you never know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this one. Learned the legend of the Bumper Man. I assure you our car's still back there. I guess we'll approach the forest for fun. I don't see any mounds out here. Anything that indicates where an individual might be buried. As we saw, that wasn't our first encounter with an individual that's buried outside cemetery grounds. I'm trying to remember, there was one in, oh shoot, I forget the cemetery. It was a very odd story that I could not get an answer on, but clearly this individual was not welcome in the cemetery because everybody was in the center, and then way off in the corner, I'll forget what video that is, maybe I'll put it in the link, had this lone little headstone by themselves. Clearly was not welcome on hallowed ground. It's a little odd, not too bad, but hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. If you have any recommendations for other cemeteries to visit in Oregon, because I want to hear a few more days and then I'll have to upload it. I'm trying to do one more in Ohio, so welcome new viewers if anyone's watching. Have a good one. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there. It's the season of the witch. Hopefully I make it back to the car.